So Arsenal play Wolves away from home, and I think we actually have a chance to do something that's quite special. I think there's a unique opportunity that we have to take. So in this video, we're going to be talking team news. We're going to be giving a score prediction, and of course, we're going to be talking about the title race. Before we get into it though, just do me the favour and hit like on this video. So let's get into it. So Wolves away from home. Listen, it's going to be a tough game, and I want to start this video by leaving it to you guys. I want to hear you in the comment section and let me know what players do you rotate in this game. What do you do with the team selection? You can't play our full first 11 again after playing our full first 11 against Bayern Munich. We saw the players were tired. So I want you to let me know straight away what changes you would make for the Wolves game. Look, Wolves are a good team. They're sitting 11th in the league, but I don't think that tells you how good they have been this season, home and away at times. They've beat teams like Chelsea, Tottenham, home and away this season. So that just tells you how good they are. We know they've got so many good players. They're well coached. They set up well. And they could be a very tricky fixture, especially away from home. So I think Arsenal definitely have to be on top form. I think we need to get over the midweek disappointment that we faced against Bayern Munich. Listen, I was disappointed at the time, but the way I'm looking at it now is this was a learning experience. This is just part of the journey, and I think the players will learn and grow from that experience. So let's get straight into the team sheet because I think there's plenty of discussion to be had. Look, in goal, of course, it's going to be David Raya, but for me, this is a guy who still has plenty to prove at Arsenal. When he first came in from Brentford, we saw him making quite a few mistakes. And then he went through a patch where he was actually playing really well. He was putting in some good performances, looked very confident and assured in goal. But the last few games for me just seems like those old habits are creeping in. So I want to see another good performance from David Raya because, look, this is still a lone player and we haven't actually pulled the trigger to make it permanent yet. So maybe, you know, he is still on audition. So I think David Raya has to be careful because if he puts in too many bad performances, I think Edu and Mikel Arteta could eventually look at it and say, well, this probably isn't the perfect guy. I mean, let me know what your thoughts on that. But look, if David Raya can play how he was maybe a month ago, then David Raya will have nothing to worry about. But I think his performances definitely need to improve. Right back, I think this is an interesting one because you probably have to rest Ben White at some point. If you're looking at the matches played, Ben White's actually played one of the players who's played one of the most amount of games. So this is a guy that probably will need rest. So do you rest him in this game? Let me know. Can you play tomiyasu in right? Maybe right back, Gabriel Saliba, and then you could put maybe Kiwior or Zinchenko. Look, it's going to be difficult. You obviously want your best team to play. Is this the game that you can look at and think maybe this is our last chance to not rest players, but maybe, well, yeah, rest players essentially. You know, you're not going to be dropping 6-7 players, but do you give Ben White a rest in this game? Can you even rest Gabriel and maybe swap him out for a Kiwior and then play Zinchenko left back? Look, Zinchenko in the last game against Wolves, remember we won 2-1. Zinchenko going forward was actually really, really good. He set up Odegaard's goal. He sort of chopped it back into the box and Odegaard finished into the bottom right corner. But if you remember, he did give away the goal for Wolves to score. So that's just the frustrating thing with Zinchenko. We've seen it a few times recently that he's given away a few goals, you know, and that was on show in the first outing against Wolves. So let me know what you would do at the left back, right back and centre back positions. And then centre mid. Look, for this game, I would definitely give Thomas Partey a run out. I think Jorginho, Declan Rice, Odegaard, them three have played a lot of football together. You know, and I think it shows. I think Thomas Partey definitely needs to play. But then that leaves you with the question of who do you rest? In my opinion, I go Thomas Partey, Jorginho and Odegaard. I think Declan Rice maybe needs a rest. This is a player who's played so much football. Don't forget he went away with England and played the full 2 matches as well. He was captain in the second game for England. So this is a guy who's played so much football. And I think that was evident in the last game because he did look tired. Quite a few of our players look tired, but I think we need to give Declan Rice a rest because he's going to be so pivotal in the games coming up. Chelsea, you know, in terms of players, they've got a strong midfield. Tottenham, they've got a strong midfield. And then you're going to be going away to Man United as well. So I think we need Declan Rice as fresh as possible for those games going forward. So I would go Partey, Jorginho. And then it's hard, isn't it? Because Odegaard's going to need a rest as well. But you can't rest too many players because it will affect the balance of the squad. So do you rest Odegaard this game and go with a Fabio Vieira or an ML Smith Rowe? I don't think you can afford to. But if he does, I wouldn't be shocked, because we saw in the last game, it looked like he took a whack, Odegaard, and there will come a point where you will need to rest Odegaard. So whether it be this game or not, I'm not sure. Let me know. Right wing, I would go Gabriel Jesus. Left wing, I would go Trossard. And up front, I would go Havertz. I think Saka and Martinelli, these are guys who look knackered, especially Saka. You know, he's always limping around. He looks like he's taken quite a few, whacks in all honesty. He is one of the most fouled players in the Premier League. So those kind of small little niggles and whacks that he's taken, they will add up over time, and it's going to cause him more injury. And he's not only that, he's played so much football that I think a time will come where you're going to need to rest Bukayo Saka. Like I said, you've got big games coming up, Chelsea and Tottenham, so maybe you do that in this game. Listen, this is a predicted 11 that's very difficult, probably one of the hardest of the season, because we have just come off that game to Bayern Munich where so many players, it was evident to see that they were so tired. So it's like you're going into this game thinking, I know players need rest, but at the same time, you need to go into it with the mentality of you can't lose, because we do have a unique opportunity. Man City don't play for a couple of weeks' time, or whenever it is, a week's time. But before they next play, Arsenal play another 2 games. So Arsenal have the ability to come from behind and actually go 4 points ahead. If we win our next 2 games, we got Wolves and then Chelsea. If we win them 2 games, we're all of a sudden 4 points clear of Man City. Now, a lot of people will expect Man City to go on and win them games, but points on the board are always the most important thing in this Premier League, because you know how difficult it is. If we're looking at Liverpool, they got Fulham away and then they've got Everton away. I've been expecting for a long time Liverpool to drop points. It finally happened. We saw them crash out of Europe as well, probably with more of a whimper than Arsenal did, in all honesty. And that was a less difficult competition. So for me, Liverpool are maybe just missing that something. Fulham away and Everton away. I'm probably going to predict Liverpool to drop points in one of them games, maybe even both. We've seen Liverpool's hedge drops and in the league against Palace, and then they play Atalanta, and then they kind of go out as well. I know they won the game 1-0. They scored very early on, 7 minutes, and they couldn't really do anything else after that. So, look, I just think this is a good opportunity that Arsenal have to take. Like I said, it's very difficult predicting what squad Mikel Arteta will go for, because he's been criticised in the past day or so, or the last couple of days, saying that he needs to rotate the squad more. But it is difficult because a lot of the players aren't good enough to get into the team. So it's kind of like, yep, you do need to rotate. But if the players are not good enough, who's going to be coming in, your level drops, and then you lose a game, then you're going to get criticised for rotating too much and then ultimately losing the game as well. So I think Mikel Arteta is in a difficult position, because I do think he needs to rotate. But at the same time, it's difficult to rotate when the backup options ultimately might end up with you losing the game. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what team he does go for. But also, I do think Arsenal right now are in a situation where they have the opportunity to do something special. We saw a couple of months ago, Arsenal went through that 2-game period where they lost to Fulham and then West Ham. And that kind of galvanised something in the team. And they went on this ridiculous 11-game unbeaten streak. And if Arsenal can sort of replicate that in these final, whatever it is, 6 games of the season, and go on this crazy winning run, then Arsenal would put themselves in a brilliant position to win the Premier League. I'm expecting Man City and Liverpool, obviously Liverpool more so than Man City. Well, I'm more so hoping Man City drop points. But I think if Arsenal can win every single game, then I think we could actually win the league still. Because look, Man City still have to play Tottenham, which is a notoriously difficult game for Man City. They always, every season, for as long as I can remember, they drop points against Man City. So I'm expecting that to happen again. And if not, they do still have some games where you look at and think, right, they probably should win. But will the disappointment of dropping out of the Champions League affect their mentality? We saw it in the early part of the season. They sort of drew a game and lost a game, and then they was going through this period where you're like, this is unlike Man City. They're dropping points left, right, and centre. So if we can kind of catch them, or they enter a moment where they go into a few games with that mindset again, I think, Arsenal just have to capitalise on this chance. I think Arsenal have to go 4 points clear. Go into that the Tottenham game, with maybe something on the line. Say if Arsenal win the next 2 games, they're 4 points clear. We go into that Tottenham game, anything could happen. Man City could have even dropped points by then. They got to play Brighton away, so there's some difficult fixtures coming up. You know, and I do think Arsenal have the ability to go on and win every single game that's coming up in the Premier League. And some people might say you're crazy, you've just lost to Bayern Munich, you just lost to Aston Villa. I know that. But I've also seen this team do amazing things this season. I've seen them score a lot of goals. I've seen them with some big performances, mature performances in the Premier League. Don't forget, the Champions League and the Premier League, Arsenal have almost looked a different team this season. We saw how we struggled with Porto, and we did, but we got past it on penalties. We saw how we struggled with Bayern Munich. Now, Bayern Munich are a good team, but we kind of didn't seem ourselves in those games. So I'm just saying, I think Arsenal can go on and win every single game. Some people might say, well, you're deluded, you're just an Arsenal fan looking at it. But I just think we have the ability to do something special. That's just my thought, though. I would like to know yours. Let me know your thoughts on everything. Not only you've heard in this video, but your thoughts about the game against Wolves as well. Like I said, let me know what you would do with that team selection, because like I said, you've seen mine. I'm finding it difficult to kind of guess what Mikel Arteta's going to do. So just let me know what you would do. Thanks so much to everyone for watching and listening. Before you go, if you could just do me the favour, giving me a thumbs up on this video, just like it and subscribe. And I'll speak to you all in tomorrow's video. Gooners, have a good day.